Just like that, bud. You're almost there. All right. You got it. Pulled it out of the way. Thank you. Thank you. It's my boy. We'll play in a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Is that for you? Maybe you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mustang Creed.
Thank you, Captain, for leading me into this as well. So I'm going to repeat a little bit of this that you've already heard, so bear with me. What is a Mustang? In the Navy, a Mustang is an officer who is promoted up through the ranks of the Navy enlisted personnel through an in-service procurement program with no interruption of his or her active duty status. It is also understood that the Mustang officer was a career sailor and normally wears one or more good conduct medals. Thus, the Navy Mustang is either a Navy limited duty officer, a chief warrant officer, or commissioned officer through the Direct Fleet Accession, Seaman to Admiral program, or through the Enlisted Commissioning Program. In the past, there were other programs leading to a commission such as NISA or the Naval Flight Officer Program, but these have since gone away. LDOs and CWOs are a very unique part of the Naval Service. The LDO or CWO serves in a role like no other commissioned officer can. LDOs and CWOs are enlisted people who are commissioned as officers and have been called to serve from their senior enlisted ranks as technical managers. An LDO or CWO has a necessary experience and technical background to perform tasks that call for the officer rank and protocol to carry out, but require the enlisted heart and experience to get accomplished. Currently, the U.S. Navy and the Marine Corps are the only branches of the armed forces to have such commissioning programs in place. The term Mustang is a relatively modern term, originating either just prior to or during World War II. It is believed to be a sea service term, although other service officers are beginning to be described as Mustangs. It literally refers to the Mustang horse, which is a wild animal and therefore not a thoroughbred. A Mustang, after being captured, can be tamed and saddle broken, but always has a bit of a wild streak and can periodically revert to its old ways unexpectedly, and therefore the owner needs to keep an eye on it at all times. By the same token, however, since a Mustang was formerly a wild and free animal, it may very well be smarter, more capable, and have a better survival instinct than a thoroughbred. The Mustang can take care of itself when things get tough, thriving on rough treatment, while the thoroughbred, having been pampered its whole life, cannot. You can easily see the parallel between the horse and the naval officers. The term Mustang is used in a complimentary sense most of the time. Another accounting for the term Mustang is derived from the United States Naval Academy, where the term Mustang was initially used by the USNA grads as an insult to the lower class of prior enlisted officers. They considered themselves as thoroughbreds and meaning to insult called our honored predecessors Mustangs because we were less than pure, like Yankees. The slur stuck and soon became a badge of honor. An LDO or CWO is an officer by appearance and in the minds of the top brass. An enlisted technician at heart, the creed of the LDO CWO upon receiving their commission is, I did it the hard way. I earned it. And Chief Calloway, Ensign Calloway now, you earned it.
Commander McPherson, Ensign. Commander McPherson will now administer the officer's oath to Ensign Calloway. Ladies and gentlemen, attention to the oath.
I, Asa Calloway, have been appointed ensign in the United States Navy. Will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Against all enemies, foreign enemies. No bear true faith. No allegiance to the same. I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation.
I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation.
For purpose of evasion.
For purpose of evasion.
I will willfully discharge
I will willfully discharge
the duties of the office I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. First time doing this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. And it is now my honor to present to you officially Ensign Asa Calloway, United States Navy, 1H. Ensign. Now it's an honor and a tradition that a brand new silver dollar be given to the first enlisted sailor who salutes the new ensign. The exact origin of this custom is arguable, but it began before the U.S. Armed Forces were originated. British regiments stationed in the colonial Americas brought with them a number of customs and traditions that were retained by the newly formed American Armed Forces. One status symbol highly sought by newly commissioned British officers was to have a servant assigned to them, and that servant was normally an enlisted sailor who was responsible for ensuring that the officer's kit, dress, and field uniforms, and then his personal equipment, were serviceable at all times. The enlisted sailor was also responsible for teaching the officer the ship's history, its traditions, and its customs. This custom continued to grow within the British military and the newly formed American units as well. American second lieutenants in 1816 received a monthly base pay of $25, a $3 rations allowance, and $1 for an enlisted advisor. This advisor's pay was later discontinued, but the responsibility for teaching the newly commissioned officer still continued. The present-day tradition of giving a silver dollar for the first salute is thought to have its roots in this relationship. Ensign Calloway will now return his first salute as part of the silver dollar salute tradition. Petty Officer Woody, front and center.
Mission carried on, sir.
Carry on.
Ensign Calloway, deck is yours, sir.
All right. So there's a couple things I need to do before I give my closing remarks. So I truly believe that if you can still make a positive influence on sailors and a positive impact on the Navy, you should absolutely stay as long as you can. So with that being said, there's 2 Master Chiefs in here right now. They're through 27 and 28 year marks, and they need to make it out to 30, so we're going to go and bring them out to 30. So Master Chief Mills, Master Chief Jackson, come up here, please. Ready to start?
We are. First, we have to officially discharge these Master Chiefs, and so this honorable discharge, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This honorable discharge from the Armed Forces of the United States of America, this is to certify that these two Master Chiefs have been honorably discharged from the United States Navy today on the first day of November 2017. This is to certify, this is awarded as a testimonial of honest and faithful service.
Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I'll obey the orders of the President of the United States and of officers appointed over me, according to regulations and uniform code of military justice. So help me God.
I, Shane Rice, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulation and the uniform code of military justice. So help me God.
Outstanding.
Booyah!
Congratulations. You guys have anything to say?
This is your day.
Yep. Thank you. All right, so then one more thing, and this it's kind of hard. It's hard to say. It means a lot to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
A couple years ago, I received a letter in the mail from a senior chief I never met before. Just talked to him a lot over the phone. We built a good rapport and relationship, and he sent me his anchors, and he said, hey, these were the anchors I got when I made chief, and I want to give them to you, so I want to pass them on to someone today. So I've known CTI 1 Adolphson for almost 3 years, and for 3 years I've known him to be an awesome husband and father and an outstanding sailor. And can you come up here, please? And I truly, truly hope that the board gets it right this year, because he deserves these. I see him, and I see the tissues. Thank you all for being here. This really means a lot. All the support you're showing my family and I can't thank you enough. But before I do that, I got to give a few gifts to the family. My little baby bear ran out, so she'll get hers later. But Troy, come here for a second. What's your gift? You want a present? He's not just getting mine anymore. All right. And I got to give something to my wife because she does everything, but what she doesn't know is about 2 weeks ago, I stole all of her necklaces. And she still thinks Ensa did it because I didn't want her to wear a necklace today because I got something for her. So, Brogan, can you come up here for a second? She says I didn't have to. I did.
Baby, like, your new necklace.
You're welcome, buddy. I love you. All right. So, again, thank you all for coming here today. I wish I could thank every one of you individually, and I'll try to afterwards, but for these remarks, there's only 5 people I want to publicly thank because they're the ones that they really helped me get where I am today. So, 2 of them can't be here. First one, retired Chief Eric Richardson. He was my first chief. And he taught me more about the Navy in 2 years I've worked for him than I ever thought I would learn. He was unique because when I went to him and said, hey, Chief, I got a good idea, and instead of just shutting it down and saying, well, no, or asking me what the idea was, he told me, go ahead and do it. And that was powerful because when things didn't really go out the way I thought they would in my head as a young seaman, I have to go to him and tell him, hey, Chief, this is what happened. And instead of berating me and telling me, hey, this is what went wrong and this is why it went wrong, and I knew this was going to happen, we would just talk about it. We just had a conversation. And then when everything was all said and done, he'd ask me questions like, if you had unlimited resources and you knew then what you know now, do you think this was still a good idea? And that helped me a lot because he taught me about empowering your sailors. He taught me about leadership, loyalty. He taught me about failure. And I can't thank him enough for all those things. Next person. Matt kind of hit on this a little bit. Retired Senior Chief Brian Mueller, also known as the Mule. He worked me longer than I ever wanted to work. There were nights where I didn't come home, not because I had duty, but because it was about 10 o'clock at night and driving home an hour just to come back at 4:30 the next morning wasn't worth it. And Brogan had to feel that. He put me in leadership positions that I was uncomfortable in. And he even had me stay late on regular days if we weren't busy, just so I could see what he was doing in the office as the chief, because he was never in the office during regular working hours. I wish he was here today, but life happens, and that's okay. But the Mule, he prepared me for everything that's happening. And his work ethic that he instilled in me is going to carry on. Matt was really polite, talking about how the Mule drove me, but I'll give you a small taste of who he was. He yelled at me once so hard that he broke his teeth. And that's not a joke. They shattered. It was a Saturday morning on duty, and I'll never forget it. The next person, Mac. What to say about Mac? I've known Mac for the better half of my career, and when I met him, just blown away by how he carried himself and how he operated on the ship. And throughout my tour on board, Mac moved into a few different roles that was unique. If I didn't live his leadership style, and I just heard about it, I may not agree with it. Because while on board, Mac was my secco, he was my mentor, and he was my friend. And never once did he let any of them roles bleed into one another. He never once had to sit down from the day I met him till yesterday and say, MA2, MA1, Chief, Asa, this is so-and-so talking and you need to listen. He just had a unique way of carrying himself and saying the things he needed to say so I'd understand it. Well, about 2 years ago, I think you and Cindy were up in Pennsylvania, right? For visiting the holidays. I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, but you guys were up in Pennsylvania. Brogan and I and the kids, we were in Maryland. And Mac and Cindy drove down about an hour to meet Enza for the first time, which she's not here right now. But they drove down to meet Enza for the first time and meet some of Brogan's family. And then we went out to lunch together and broke bread like we've done in the past. And after that trip, I kind of realized that Mac had shifted into a different role. Mac was family. And I don't say family because he's a cool guy to hang out with and he's just cool to talk to. I mean family because we care about each other. Our families care about each other. We call and we talk about the kids and ask how each other's kids are doing. Just talk about life. You know, there's shop talk in there, but that's what family does. And we've had some disagreements. And there's some things that were said that, we were probably mad about at the time. But that's okay, because that's what family does. We don't always agree, but we care about each other, and we love each other. So Mac and Cindy, thank you two for being amazing people. The Calloway family cannot thank you enough. So I want to read to you guys a few quotes, and these are some of the things that I've heard over the years that have really inspired me to I guess work as hard as he says I've worked. And the cool thing about all these quotes is they've gone full circle. Never be satisfied. Always do your best. Give them everything they need, but not everything they want. Go get them, Ace. I'm proud of you, and I love you, son. These are the things that my father has told me my entire life. Jim, my dad, he has been the most positive influence, and I don't know how to thank him. But everything he's told me, when I said it's gone full circle, it really has. Hey, Anza. Hey, you want your gift? Sis, do you want a present? Come here. She's my little princess, so. Oh, what do you think of that? You want it? So everything that my dad has said has gone full circle with mentors he's never met. When my dad would tell me, always do your best, it went right back to Eric. Because when Eric taught me about failure, he taught me that failing was okay, and it wasn't a negative thing as long as you learned from it. And when he told me never be satisfied, that went back to the mule. Because the mule worked me. He worked me like a mule. And the mule, he set his bar up here. And when you got close, he raised it again. Because he knew that when you got comfortable, you got complacent. And complacency, it breeds failure. And when he told me to give them everything they need, but not everything they want, that's the advice he gave me when I asked him how to be a good dad before Troy was born. And that goes back to family, with Mac. Because Max had some of those conversations with me that he told me things that I did not want to hear, and they were hard truths that I needed to hear. So Dad, thank you for everything. I've become, I think, a decent leader because you taught me how to be an amazing leader at home. Everything you taught me was the foundation for which I work upon to take care of Brogan and the kids, and I thank you for that. And last but not least, old Mama Bear. Brogan, you are the most amazing woman ever. That's why I wiped you. And you're pretty. But a lot of people like to refer to their spouse as the rock. And for anyone in here who knows Brogan and has had a conversation with her, knows that she is not a rock by any means. She is the glue that holds the Calloway family together. You see, when the kids are upset, and you saw it firsthand, and Enzo's having a bad moment. The kids are sick, or they're hurt, they're not feeling well, whatever the case may be, it's her warm touch and her gentle voice that makes everything better. And when I'm having a bad day at work and I come home and I'm venting, it's her open heart, her open ears, and her strong morals and ideals that give me the advice to put it behind me and go right back to work the next day and not let it bother me anymore. And when everything is going right and everyone is smiling, she's the one behind the camera taking pictures so she can try to share some of our happiness with our friends and family all over the world. Brogan once wrote me a charge, and it says, "I admire you and I will follow you anywhere." And the truth is, I don't want Brogan to follow me anywhere. I want you, Troy, Enzo, and that little bun in your oven. I did it, number 3. To be right by my side wherever the Navy takes us. Thank you for everything you do and all the support you've shown us and all the support you've shown the Navy. Again, everyone here, thank you so much for being here. I really can't thank you enough. It means a lot. And that's it.
If you all stay where you're at, Captain Sheldon, will you give the benediction, sir?
Let's pray again, shall we? And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you this day and give you his peace. And may our great God and Savior grant you fair winds and following seas, now and always. And to this we say, amen.
Military guests, cover. 2. Side boys, post.
Side boys, side step, march. Left, right, face.
Captain, United States Navy, departed. Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, departed. Ensign, United States Navy, departed. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony today. Ensign Calloway has refreshments out in the foyer. Thank you for joining us and have yourself a fine Navy day.